All right, now joining me now is Joe Garcia. He's a Democratic congressional candidate for the 26th Congressional District, which stretches from Kendall to Key West. In November, he will be facing Republican Congressman David Rivera. Good morning, Joe.
It's a pleasure. I thought you looked good in the video.
I tried to. Now, you're, of course, hoping to make him clap on election night.
Let's hope we get him to vote on election night, early voting and absentee voting. We're obviously reaching out across Florida, giving a positive message, talking about the issues that matter to South Florida, and that's having resonance.
Well, all right, let's start with the first. Now, your opponent, David Rivera, Congressman David Rivera, has been in the news a great deal in the last couple of years. More recently, he's got two federal investigations, one dealing with an IRS issue over $500,000 payment that he took from a secret contract with Flagler Dog Track to bring casino gambling to the pari-mutuel facilities, and a more recent one for running a candidate against you, Justin Lamar Senad, in the primary, and now he's being investigated for possible money laundering and funneling money to that campaign and running a candidate against you. What's been your reaction to the investigations involving David Rivera?
Jim, there's a grand jury panel impaneled. There are FBI's agents interviewing people and state attorney folks interviewing people. I think enough is said with that. What we're trying to do in our campaign is talk about the issues of the district. You know, making sure that we promote better jobs, making sure we protect and preserve Medicare and Social Security once and for all. Talking about issues like farming in our community, fishing off of the Florida Keys. You know, this district stretches from Westchester to Key West. It's a huge chunk of land. It's one of the most interesting parts of our state. And in fact, the majority of the district is a state park, which is Everglades, is a federal park, which is Everglades National Park. So what we're doing is talking about those issues that concern people. Look, when there's a grand jury investigation going on, I think we should leave it to justice and those officials to take care of that. We're going to continue running a strong campaign.
All right, let's talk about some of the issues. There's been a lot of focus on what the Republicans, particularly Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan and the Republican Congress would do to Medicare, but I don't know that there's been as much of a conversation on the Democratic side as to what the Democrats are willing to do to help secure Medicare. President Obama's plan will only secure it for a few years out, for about 7 or 8, 9 years out. Give me your impression as to what you would do, what you're willing to do to save Medicare as we know it.
Well, look, first off, I think the president's already made a very strong commitment. First of all, there's an age change in Medicare. It doesn't affect anyone now or living, but it moves it forward a few years. The reality is we've got more long-term investment in it. You know, the president, by some of the processes that we put in it, we're going to get huge reductions. I think that's already an extension of about 20 years. And then when you look at the comprehensive health care system that we're going to go into, when you talk about the Affordable Care Act, I think it puts us all in a better position, because I think we can invest more correctly those dollars and make sure that people maximize their investments. And then we've gotten rid of some of these, these bells and whistle plans that really have no impact on health, that are costing us more, and that extends the system pretty good.
I take from your answer also that if there was a vote, as there have been many times, to repeal what's become known as Obamacare, you would vote against it.
Let's be clear. My opponent voted to end Medicare as we know it, voted to the voucherization, to make seniors have to negotiate with healthcare companies. Jim, my mother had a heart condition, and she was in one of these HMO plans. And fortunately, we knew this healthcare company. We knew some of the officials behind it, but it was tough. Here's my mother having to have open heart surgery, and she's having to negotiate who her surgeon was going to be when no one here was willing to make the operation. I don't think our seniors should be doing that. They've given enough. They've spent their entire life working and being productive for our country. They've made a commitment, and we made a commitment with them. We have to honor the Medicare system. It works. It's something we should keep in place, and I believe with proper investment, it'll work for generations to come.
Okay, but my question was, if a vote came up to repeal Obamacare, you would be voting. You would not vote to repeal Obamacare.
We have to fix things that are not working.
Let's put it there.
Sure.
What do you think needs to be fixed in Obamacare?
Well, look, there are things in Obamacare, for example, the payouts to physicians, that we've got to work out a better plan. We've got to have people who know about the system. There are some panels where quite literally doctors can't serve, and I think that's important. I think we also need to make sure that we preserve the ability for business to find it easier to keep private insurance than take a hit for a fine. I think that's a mistake. You know, if a business today is providing health care and somehow they find a loophole where it's easier to get rid of health care and just pay a fine, that's clearly a mistake. So there are things all over it that we fix. Just like it was done in Massachusetts, slowly but surely you start, you know, taking off the edges where it's not working, making the system work better. And I think long term, it's headed in the right direction.
What's the issue in this campaign that we haven't been talking about that we should be talking about from your congressional perspective?
Look, I think, you know, I think most of the talk is about my opponent's criminal investigation, and I'd love to be talking about how we preserve the Florida Keys, how we bring more security to the water, how we make sure we preserve and protect our farmland. You know, South Dade and the Homestead area is the most productive per acre in the entire state of Florida. We have to work there. So how do we get jobs back in South Florida? How do we protect people that are losing hope? If South Dade were a county, it would be one of the worst in the county with foreclosures. We've got literally billions and billions of people who are, billions and billions of dollars of foreclosed property or on the verge of being foreclosed that we need to step up and find a way to keep those folks in the homes. And one of the ways to do it is using these historically low rates to refinance those folks. But the way that some of these have been written, it's impossible to do. I think government needs to step up because, Jim, it isn't when you're on a neighborhood and you're able to keep up. It's the house next to you that goes into disrepair, that isn't fixed, that the bank won't talk to, that they won't sell. Suddenly your property values are going down, and I think it's hurting us in a broader way that we are not able to build. You know, folks like Lennar and other home builders haven't moved forward because there's so much inventory that's sort of stuck.
All right, Joe Garcia, we're going to have to end it there. Now, when we